Hello, my name is Cadet Lutz, and on behalf of Cadet Henderson and I will be walking us through the presentation for Deliverable 2-2. Cadet Henderson was at an honor board hearing all day, and I will be taking the reins for this presentation. So, starting with our Excel spreadsheet. So we have the original dashboard from Deliverable 2-1. Our thoughts and concepts behind this was that we wanted to keep that original dashboard, which we thought was fairly intuitive, and we wanted to add a feature that create a series of pivot tables in one spreadsheet. It then moved them over to another spreadsheet and got rid of any original spreadsheets that were there so that they wouldn't overlap. And those spreadsheets consisted of a series of data from the terrorist data set that we had a keen focus on. So weapon type, types of injuries, where anything pertaining to really the attack itself, specifics. So looking at our code, just what we really updated, the real key focus here is what the pivot tables are doing. So we have the pivot table creations for a series of subs, around 6 subs, 1 per pivot table. And then those are all lumped into this sub-all function that takes all those pivot tables and then copies them over to our dashboard so that it's very intuitive to the user. What we then did was we updated our dashboard filter, which is the macros assigned to our filter button. So we have our finder filter from Deliverable 2-1, and we added this reset and call all. So that call all is copying all those things from the pivot table spreadsheet and then moving them over to the values or dashboard spreadsheet. What's interesting is we also have this call reset, which then deletes anything that was on the dashboard originally. So if the user wants to change the country, they're not constantly overlaying pivot tables on top of each other. And we had to do a little finicking with the coding so that it actually worked. VBA doesn't like when there's no pivot tables there to delete, so we had to run a code that basically voided that error message and just deleted anything that was there, even if there was nothing there. So, seeing as we're I-hour, we're going to test Syria. Let's just test 2000 to 2014 to prove that it works, and we'll change the longitude and distance just to prove the code is actually working. So the Excel spreadsheet, due to its size, is going to take a little bit of time. It's got to process a lot of data. It even doesn't respond, and then boom, we have our pivot tables. So basically, what happened was they were drawn out in our pivot tables, and then they were moved over to our dashboard. And therefore, we have our display of target by type, weapon by type, our bar chart for fatalities and casualties by type, our attack by type, and then our line charts for number of attacks by month, and our number of fatalities and casualties by month. Now, let's just see what happens if we change this to be 1999 and just prove that nothing's overlaying. So even if I change this, technically, if we didn't properly code this correctly, they would just keep overlaying. But because we have that reset function, it's going to just delete what was originally there to add this new updated series of charts. And there we go. We have a different series of outputs, all relating to Syria. So, in terms of what we actually did here, what's our future work, etc., we were perfectly able to present what we had conceived in our thoughts, in terms of the output, etc. What would we actually change about the code? Well, seeing as we followed Lieutenant Colonel Henderson's code to a T due to the guidance from our teachers for this deliverable, we wouldn't really change much. We made the dashboard more intuitive, and to be honest, if the stuff had stayed in the pivot tables, it wouldn't be intuitive. It had to get moved over. And originally in our thoughts process, we were thinking, well, we would have a reset button, a separate button from filter that would reset the graphs, but that didn't make a lot of sense because why would the user need 2 buttons if they could just click filter every time and it'll just display what they want, display the criteria that they set based off COCON country, input latitude and longitude or time frame, etc. So we're happy with the product we produce because it's still intuitive to the dashboard that we created, which we originally thought was very intuitive itself. If we could change anything, it would just be that because we used record macros, which we were guided to use, we didn't fully understand each line of that series of code that we were using, but the record macros saved us that time by expediting the process of how you actually build each part of that code to move each graph over. For future work, we could see this then expanding for Deliverable 2-3 by adding more criteria, more types of output. But what we have right here is a very, very good framework for Deliverable 2-3. It did exactly what we had intended, and we're happy with what we present right here. So thank you for your time, sir.